Naruto, God-level system author, Blue Water God. Chapter 56, Konoha. Everyone who turned on the edge of mode. Xianchen looked at the nine tails with endless contempt. Madara Uchiha regarded it as a beast, and it can say such things, which is really shameless. With a loud roar, Jiwai released a tailed beast jade again, smashing it on Xianchen's Suzu, with a loud bang, causing Xianchen to retreat several hundred meters. You're just that much, except for a little more chakra, you are a pig in my eyes. Xianchen repaired the slight damage to Suzu's armor, and said with a little disdain, the complete body Suzu is indeed powerful, and can be hardwired with the tailed beast jade, and it is also a nine-tailed beast jade. You bastard. Nine Tails scolded, and Suzu's attack and defense technique really made Nine Tails very uncomfortable. Tailed beasts are okay against normal ninjas, because it is difficult for normal ninjas to break their defenses. Facing Sun Xianchen's Susanoo, Jiwai will be out of luck. Jiwai can indeed break Susanoo's defense, but it needs continuous bombing, and Xianchen will not give it a chance. When Jiwai was about to hit the second-tailed beast jade, Suzu had already come to Jiwai, retracted the sword, and punched Jiwai's chin, making Jiwai's tailed beast jade hold back. Nine Tails, the incarnation of disaster, is nothing more than that. Hyuga Tatsu manipulated Suzu, lifted Nine Tails, and threw them several kilometers away from Konoha village. If Xianchen wanted to win the Nine Tails, it would be a bit troublesome to rely on Suzu alone, and the destructive power of both sides was too great, and it would easily spread to Konoha village. It doesn't matter if Xianchen himself is there, but Mikoto and Kushina are still in the village, and if Konoha is destroyed because of their battle, Tsunade will definitely be sad. After throwing Jiwai, Xianchen put away Jiwai's broken tail, then ran towards Jiwai, crossing nearly 100 meters in one step, and came to Jiwai in an instant, and then kicked Jiwai for several kilometers. This time, it is completely far away from Konoha. If you don't deliberately attack Konoha, it will never affect Konoha. Sarutobi Hizen and the others, who were watching from a distance, fell silent as they watched this scene. The power of Sharingan is really powerful. This is already a legendary technique of the gods. Countless people fear the tailed beast like a tiger, just like a child who has not grown up. Orochimaru said softly, a trace of envy flashed in his vertical pupils. This was the first time he had pursued Sharingan. Even a few years ago, when Xianchen controlled Uchiha to attack Sarutobi Hizen, Orochimaru did not envy him. Because at that time, although the ability of Sharingan was strong, under the siege of Konoha crowd, there was no overwhelming strength. It's different now. It directly beats the nine-tailed, recognized as the strongest in the ninja world, and hardwires the tailed beast jade without incident. Who doesn't want to get this kind of power? Just look at the Danzo next to you, you can see that the saliva is flowing out. If I can get this kind of power, then become Hokage and let Konoha dominate the entire ninja world, wouldn't it be easy? How can this kind of power appear on the Uchiha clan? This belongs to me, Anzang in his heart growled. The time is not short, and the ninjas of the major families also rushed over. Lord Hokage, is this? Asked the current patriarch of the Nara family. A mysterious person suspected of being the Uchiha family got into a fight with the Nine Tails. Sarutobi Hizen also glanced at the Uchiha family patriarch. Uchiha almost vomited blood, watching Susanoo who was beating Kuro, who was bigger than a hill. Under the moonlight, he wanted to die. There are so many awesome characters in their Uchiha family, so many that he, the patriarch, doesn't know a single one. Lord Hokage, this has nothing to do with my Uchiha family. Although this is indeed Suzu, it has absolutely nothing to do with our Uchiha family. Uchiha said firmly. I know. Sarutobi Hizen believed Uchiha's words. If the Uchiha family really had such strength, it is estimated that they would have jumped up long ago. So Sarutobi Hizen has no doubts that this masked person has something to do with Uchiha. Maybe it's your Uchiha clan, the scattered clansmen. This was the only explanation Sarutobi Hizen could think of. Sarutobi, think about it at this time, how to get back the Nine Tails and deal with the mysterious man. Mito Menion reminded beside him. Hey, look at it. If we go up now, we can only be cannon fodder at most, and no one will look at us directly. Sarutobi Hizen said unwillingly. The ninjas around were silent, and they didn't want to fight this monster either. Sarutobi, why don't you just let the Nine Tails go out? Danzo immediately exploded when he heard that. If you feel that you are very strong, you can go up and give it a try. Anzang stopped talking. He was a man who cherished his life. How could he rush ahead? Don't look at the last time of Anzang. It seems to be very great, but in fact, it wants to pull the back of the dead, and then put a great label on it and wash it out. In fact, it's all black and purple, and it's whitewashed. If Danzo can be cleaned up, then everyone can be cleaned up. But when I think about it, everyone is really whitewashed. The entire Hokage, except for Kaguya, who knelt down shortly after appearing on the stage, seems to have all been whitewashed. Kaguya is so pitiful when she sees it like this. She is obviously trying to defend against an enemy that can destroy the world, and she is trying to destroy the world for the sake of saving the world, but she didn't get cleaned up. Funny. The kaleidoscope shaker is too scary. If there are a few more pairs, The entire ninja world together will not be an opponent. Zai Lai also sighed. In fact, this sentence is Jiraiya's unintentional words, but when it reaches other people's ears, it changes its flavor. Sarutobi Hizen, Shimura Danzo, and the Konoha elders, including Konoha's major families, are all wary of the Uchiha family. Uchiha almost jumped up and looked at Jiraiya with a bad look. Their Uchiha family asked themselves that they did not offend Jiraiya, but this coercion actually wanted to harm them. What an idiot! Orochimaru scolded, saying this at this time, he directly offended the Uchiha family to death. How can this guy be Suzu? Tsunade asked in his heart. She was the only one present who knew Haixianchen's identity, so she was very curious about Haixianchen's ability to use the ultimate meaning of the Uchiha family. Since Chen can help Mikoto open the kaleidoscope, then it's not surprising to be able to use Suzu. Tsunade can only explain this way, otherwise he can't explain it at all. In fact, she was very curious about Haixianchen's physical skills and golden flashing ability, but she never asked. Everyone has their own secrets. If she forcibly asks Haixianchen, even if Haixianchen really says it, it will destroy the relationship between them. Chapter 57 Get Nine-Tailed Chakra. The strength of the nine-tailed beast is really unbelievable. After fighting for so long, I still can't win it. It is indeed the strongest of the nine-tailed beasts, Haixianchen said silently. This is still Hyuga Chen's outstanding swordsmanship, so that Hyuga Chen Suzu's combat power can be increased, and this suppresses the nine tails, otherwise the two sides will be tied at most. Madara Uchiha was able to keep Nine Tails as a pet because of his restraint, and he could control Nine Tails with a single glance. Otherwise, it will take a lot of effort for Uchiha Madara to defeat the Nine Tails. Of course, this is referring to Madara before the Samsara Eye is opened. Madara with Samsara Eye is definitely a further beating his son. Although Tenseikan is stronger than the Eternal Kaleidoscope, it has a specialization in the art industry, and there is no way to easily control the tailed beast, at least not control the Nine Tails, otherwise Haixianchen would have used it long ago. Tenseisen's ability to control puppets is no match for the Nine Tails, and Haixianchen didn't want to reveal Tenseisen's ability, so he could only use Suzu to take down the Nine Tails. In the future, Haixianchen will definitely use the Tenseikan ability frequently, as well as the ability of the glittering fruit. It is best not to use it now. Otherwise, it's easy to reveal his identity. Haixianchen has never thought of becoming a traitor. It's obviously delicious in Konoha, so why should he be a traitor? That's why Haixianchen has been using Suzu all the time, and Haixianchen's Suzu has a tasteless ability, that is, he can change colors and shapes, and he is not afraid of being exposed. It's a big deal to change a color and shape, but this ability is very tasteless. The weapon only comes with 2 ordinary swords. Compared with Uchiha Itachi, who has 3 artifacts, Suzuno of Hyuga Chen is a bit low. The big fox of the Nine Tails is really hanging. It must be done quickly. I can't compare it with chakra consumption. It seems that I need to use a Tenseisen, Haixianchen secretly said. The current Haixianchen is not the same as Kai Ainzao's humor. The chakra is bursting, and the degree is basically endless, and it is impossible to fight a protracted battle with the Nine Tails known as Chakra Infinite. Susanoo Gravity Knife. Haixianchen manipulated Suzu to swing the sword with all his strength, and with the gravitational force of Tenseisen, he directly pulled the Nine Tails over and slammed into Suzu's sword. Anyway, Konoha's people are very far away from Haixianchen, and they can't see Haixianchen at all. Even if they use Tensei Eyes a little, no one can find out. Even if I saw it, I would only think it was Suzu's ability. With a dazed look on his face, Kyuubi collided with Susanoo's sword, the blade slashed iron like mud, and Kyuubi was cut off by a quarter of his body. Since the Nine Tails are composed of chakras, there is no flesh and blood flying, and the parts that are cut off are turned into chakras. And Jiwai didn't lack anything, but it was a little smaller. So was the tail that was cut off by Haixianchen before, and Jiwai didn't lack any body parts. Sun Xianchen, who had crystals on Suzu's head, quickly shot, and Nine-Tailed Chakra was collected by him. A quarter of the Nine-Tailed Chakra? It doesn't seem to be enough. After getting 1/4 of the Nine-Tailed Chakra, Haixianchen did not give up, but greedily stared at the Nine-Tailed again. Haixianchen's goal is half of the Nine-Tailed Chakra, and now the goal is only half completed, and the remaining half has not been completed. Nine Tails and Nine Tails swayed, and they were extremely furious. Nine Tails called the Chakra Unlimited, which was just a claim. You are only angry, I won't play with you, I will solve you directly. Haixianchen sneered. Under the control of Haixianchen, Suzu pressed on the head of the Nine Tails and restrained the Nine Tails here. And Haixianchen directly released the green light ball, used the ability of Tenseikan, and began to extract the chakra of the Nine Tails, wanting to end it quickly. The Nine-Tailed Chakra was drawn away by Haixianchen like running water. Feeling the loss of chakra, the Nine Tails roared anxiously. A pair of fox eyes looked at Haixianchen with hatred, and there was a trace of fear in the deepest part. Under Haixianchen's extraction of chakra, Jiwai's body became thinner. In the past, he was 50 meters long on his stomach, but now it is not bad to have 30 meters. After getting enough chakra, Xianchen also stopped, looking at the nine tails lying on the ground, like a dead dog, and controlling Suzu to kick. Then he glanced at the Konoha crowd a few kilometers away. The huge Suzu almost disappeared, and Xianchen used space teleport to leave. What's the matter? Could it be that I can't hold on to the consumption of Suzu, or have I already left? Sarutobi Hizen asked the patriarch of the Hinata family. There was only nine-tailed Chakra at the scene, and no one else was seen. Chief Hyuga said with a glance with his white eyes. There were two chakra sources with the same big light bulbs before, and now there is the huge chakra aggregate of nine tails. Don't worry about that mysterious person. Go and seal the nine tails. Maybe that mysterious person has already got what he wanted and left. Sarutobi Hizen led the crowd and rushed forward. Seeing that Hokage took the lead, those ninjas who were afraid in their hearts also forcibly suppressed the fear in their hearts, and rushed up with Hizen. Sarutobi. A distance of several kilometers is only a matter of minutes for these ninjas who are faster than cars. When they came to Jiwai and looked at the thin Jiwai, everyone couldn't believe it. Is this still Jiwai? What are you looking at? Kyuubi struggled to get up, staring at the Konoha crowd in embarrassment. Such a shameful thing. We must not let other tailed beasts know, otherwise it will be shameful. It seems that the murder will be silenced. Jiwai thought to himself. Jiwai raised his paw, and just as he was about to pat it down, he felt a sense of weakness, and fell to the ground accidentally, and the fox's face became even more embarrassed. Originally, the nine tails lost chakra one after another, and they were already very weak. Before leaving, Xianchen added a weak buff to it. As a result, nine tails accidentally fell to the ground, with two fox eyes staring at Konoha's ninja. The originally nervous Sarutobi Hizen also breathed a sigh of relief, and then asked the sealing team to come over and seal the nine tails. You despicable human beings who take advantage of the danger of the fox, have the ability to wait for this uncle to recover, and this uncle wants you to look good. Jiwai yelled angrily. This is really a tiger falling and pinning being bullied by a dog. Do it. Sarutobi Hizen ignored the clamor of nine tails. If he didn't take advantage of nine tails' weakness, how would he seal it? It's not that easy to seal me. Nine tails burst out chakra angrily, forming a torrent of chakra, blowing the ninjas of the seal class away. Let's try to contain the nine tails and let the people from the sealing class seal them. Sarutobi Hizen said with an ugly face. They couldn't deal with a nine-tailed, first-class maimed, which made Hiruzen Sarutobi feel very shameless. At the same time, I am also fortunate that the mysterious person did not shoot Konoha, otherwise the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 58 Nine Tails are sealed. Wind is cap vacuum jade, fire, thunder, water, earth, and wind, the five escapes, the art of Dalian bombing. Return of life. 6 type profound truth. The largest round 6 king spear. Danzo made the first move, knocking the nine tails back several meters, and then Sarutobi Hizen followed, embroidering a fancy 5 escapes with one hand, which opened everyone's eyes. And it was so powerful that it sank the nine-tailed body to the ground. At this time, Tsunade jumped up and used the 6-style profound truth's largest round 6 king spear, and also used a combination of strange force techniques to hit the head of the nine tails who had just pulled out his head from the ground. With one blow, Jiwai was slammed down, and the earth with a radius of 100 meters cracked, and Jiwai fell into the big pit, unable to recover for a long time. What are you doing? Take advantage of this good opportunity to seal the nine tails. Tsunade snorted. Yes, Tsunade-sama. Those from the sealing class quickly agreed. Looking at the destruction caused by Tsunade, everyone's expressions changed. Sarutobi Hizen was extremely ashamed, and Jirai kept wiping cold sweat. The corner of Orochimaru's mouth twitched. Danzo's face was gloomy, and the chiefs of the major families were silent. Nine tails were all beaten to such a degree by one blow, let alone a human being. If a human being was hit, it would definitely be a dead end. This is definitely the strongest physical technique they have ever seen. If you let them know that Tsunade has not used all his strength, they must scare them to death. You must know that Tsunade is domineering without armament. If you bless the domineering armed color, you will definitely be able to knock out the now weak nine tails. Jiwai shook his head, and it took a long time to recover, but it was already too late, and the sealing technique of the sealing class had been completed. Under the unwilling expression of the nine tails, he was sealed in the body of Uzumaki Tomoko, and this time, the seal of the nine tails was the gossip seal, an enhanced version of the 4-elephant seal. After the nine tails were sealed, Hiruzen Sarutobi breathed a sigh of relief. This time the replacement of the pillars of power can be described as twists and turns, but fortunately it succeeded in the end. Sarutobi, you must find out the origin of that mysterious person. Danzo strode forward, his face gloomy as water said. Danzo, you'd better not act rashly. That person's strength is very strong. I am afraid that he has reached the level of Uchiha Madara. Sarutobi Hizen said cautiously. He couldn't help being careless, but the other party was able to hang nine tails. If he didn't know that Uchiha Madara was already dead, Sarutobi Hizen would think that this person was Uchiha Madara. Cowardly. Do you have to fear him because of his strength? Everyone who peeps at Konoha will die. Tuanzang snarled after Danzo finished speaking, instead of respecting him. The people around showed disdain. When they were here before, Tuanzang didn't even dare to let out a fart, but now that the other party has left, he is here to be a hero and speak ruthlessly. If you are really so strong, why didn't you say that before? This matter ends here, but the investigation still needs to be investigated, but don't make a big splash, so as not to provoke the other party. The third generation did not give Tuanzang a chance to speak, and directly decided, Danzo, you'd better be honest. If you bring disaster to Konoha, don't blame me for not reading our love. Sarutobi Hizen knew that Danzo liked to dance, so he warned him directly. When Danzo danced in the past, Sarutobi didn't stop it, because it was also beneficial to him. But this time it was a major matter related to Konoha, and he didn't dare to let Danzo mess up. Humphrey. Danzo snorted coldly and left with the ninja at the root. Sarutobi Hizen asked the rest of the people to appease the villagers. As long as they were not deaf, they could hear such a big movement. Moreover, the body shapes of Kyuubi and Suzu are very conspicuous even at night, and they are very far away. Many people have seen Jiwai and Suzu. This is also because the back mountain blocks most of the sight, otherwise more people will see. Chen, you're back. Are you alright? Mikoto and Kushina rushed over nervously. What can you do? Your husbands go out. A small nine-tailed is not a piece of cake. Rixianchin patted his chest, and said in a slightly intentional tone. Yeah, as you said, isn't it just a little nine-tailed? Look at your bull. Kushina couldn't get used to Rixianchin's complacent look, and responded with his own words. Rixianchin's face was embarrassed. He just wanted to pretend. Kushina's words made his pretending impossible, which made Rixianchin very unhappy. I really got the nine tails. I can feel the huge chakra here, and even Mikoto said it is not an opponent. Kushina was slightly suspicious. Rixianchin was even more unhappy. This not only interrupted his pretense, but also doubted his own strength. Rixianchin immediately took out a specially made scroll to seal the nine-tailed chakra. Look, I took more than half of Jiwai's chakra. In 7 or 8 years, Jiwai will never recover. Since you can hang nine tails, what do you want nine tails chakra to do? Kushina asked in confusion. This can't be explained clearly in one sentence or two, and it's useless to have a nine-tailed chakra. I'll explain it to you later. Rixianchin didn't explain it, and knowing too much was not good for them. It's not that the more you know, the better. Sometimes the more you know, the more desperate you will be. If Rixianchin has no system, even he will despair. In Hokage, it is very difficult to become a super shadow without a plug-in. At least Rixianchin does not think that he can cultivate a super shadow without a system. Not to mention the super shadow, even the shadow level is a bit reluctant, and the shadow level is just a bigger reptile in the fourth battle. So it's better not to tell them for the time being, so as not to damage their confidence. Seeing that Rixianchin didn't want to talk, Kushina didn't ask unreasonably. Konoha's replacement of human pillars can't hide it from other shinobi villages. Even Konoha's civilians know something. If the spies from other shinobi villages don't know it, they are blind. The replacement of the Nine-Tails human pillar power has a great impact on the situation of the entire ninja world. Originally, it was just a tentative confrontation between the various ninja villages. Now that I heard that Konoha changed the human pillar power, the small calculus in my heart started to fight. After replacing the human column force, it means that Konoha can't use the human column force at all, and no ninja village will let a new human column force enter the battlefield. Renzulai is a big killer, but it is also a big bomb that will explode if you are not careful. At that time, before hurting the enemy, hurt yourself first. Although the various ninja villages agreed not to use tailed beasts without authorization, once a war begins, who would care about those? In short, this time Konoha directly abolished an arm, making the other shinobi villages happy to celebrate. Konoha occupies the most fertile land in the ninja world, and other ninja villages have long been jealous. Now, taking advantage of Konoha's broken tooth, he quickly took a bite. Chapter 59 Execution of Tasks. Have a mission. Looking at Tsunade who called them together, Haixianchin asked suspiciously. I took an ordinary sea-level mission to let you see blood. Although you are very strong, you have never seen blood. In a real life and death battle, you may not be able to show even half of your strength, Tsunade said seriously. She said that seeing blood is killing. Ninjas are all fighting in blood and fire. No ninja dares to say that he has not killed anyone. Have you seen blood? That's fine too. Rixianchin looked at Mikoto and Kushina and nodded slightly. Haixianchin said that it doesn't matter, but it is very important to Mikoto and Kushina. Although they are very powerful, Kushina can compete with Joinin. Mikoto is full of strength, and can even fight against shadow-level powerhouses. But this is only theoretical. Whether it is combat experience or psychological quality, they are not even comparable to those Chunin. At this time, it is good to practice and improve your psychological quality, otherwise it will be troublesome if you encounter an enemy who dare not start. This time, it is a group of bandits in the country of extinguishing fire. According to the information given by Konoha, this band of bandits has no ninjas at all, which is just suitable for ninjas who have just graduated. Tsunade told the mission information. Is there any problem? No problem. Let's go. Rixianchin nodded. Not to mention a group of ordinary bandits. Even the Xiao organization would be fine. However, the Akatsuki organization has not yet been established, and Juhiko is still wandering in the country of rain, and is now struggling to eat a full meal. After leaving Konoha village, Hixianchin looked around. This was the first time that Hixianchin left Konoha village. For nearly 10 years, he hadn't stepped out of Konoha village at all, and he was naturally curious about the scenery outside Konoha. Mikoto, like Hixianchin, looked at her surroundings with a strong curiosity. In fact, outside of Konoha, compared with the inside of Konoha village, there is no way to compare. Konoha can be said to be the most prosperous place in the entire ninja world. Tsunade smiled and said to Hixianchin and the others, "That's right, Konoha is the most prosperous place I've ever seen. It's much more prosperous than the country of Vortex. But there is no country of Vortex anymore." In the end, Kushina's mood dropped. Rixianchin walked up and patted Kushina on the shoulder. "Kushina still has us, and will not be alone in the future." "Yeah." Kushina smiled again after clearing up her emotions. Since the country of the Vortex has passed, why doesn't she look forward? God treats her not badly. She now has Chen who loves her, her good friend Mikoto, and her sister Tsunade. Kushina's personality is relatively optimistic, so she quickly discarded the unhappy things, turned around and smiled and whispered to Mikoto, "You don't seem to be nervous at all?" Tsunade and Rixianchin walked side by side. Tsunade was not tall, but he was still a little taller than Rixianchin. After all, Rixianchin was only 10 years old. "There's nothing to be nervous about, isn't it? Just killing someone, and it's not that I haven't done it before." Suddenly, Rixianchin realized that he had leaked his words. "Who did you kill?" Tsunade narrowed his eyes slightly. "If you don't want to say it, forget it." Seeing that Rixianchin had nothing to say, Tsunade didn't ask any more. "It's okay to tell you, it's a member of the Uchiha family. If he wants to trouble me, I will naturally not let him go." Rixianchin ignored all the people who died indirectly in his hands. Counting the people killed by Uchiha Ryo should also be counted on Hyuga Tatsu's head, because at that time it was Hixiang Tatsu who controlled Uchiha Ryo, and he was a puppet. But this can't let Tsunade know that. Unlike Hixianchin, Mikoto, and Kushina, Tsunade has deep feelings for Konoha. After all, Konoha was established by Tsunade's grandfather, and Tsunade grew up in Konoha since he was a child, and his feelings for Konoha are definitely not shallow. Rixianchin is a traveler. Rixianchin, who knows the dark side of Konoha, doesn't have much affection for Konoha. If Konoha is not prosperous, Rixianchin may have to leave Konoha. Rixianchin would never admit that he stayed here because of the beauty of Konoha. Absolutely not. The people of the Uchiha family, shouldn't it be Uchiha Cairn? Tsunade remembered the uproar that had caused the whole Konoha high-level shock. "That's right, it's that guy. He wants to kill me and Mikoto, so I'll kill him." Rixianchin's tone was relaxed, as if he was talking about killing a chicken. In Rixianchin's eyes, Uchiha Cairn is not much stronger than chicken. What a pervert. Tsunade smacked his tongue. Rixianchin was only at that time, but at the age of more than 5 years, it was unimaginable that he could kill the elite Junin. "How strong is your current strength, and how does it compare to Madara Uchiha?" Tsunade asked curiously. Mikoto and Kushina, who were whispering, also stretched out their heads and looked at Rixianchin curiously. They also wanted to know the answer. Rixianchin gave Tsunade a roll of eyes, and then said helplessly, "We haven't fought before. How do I know?" "Of course I know you haven't fought. I'm just letting you speculate. My strength should be similar to your grandfather. Except for Chakra, who is not as good as your grandfather, I am stronger than him. The overall strength is not much different." Rixianchin guessed while rubbing his chin. Kaien's Aozujian has a fairy mode, and Hixianchin also has a Tensogen Chakra mode, which is stronger than the immortal mode, and it should be no problem to tie with Kaien's Aozujian. "Similar to my grandfather, that is stronger than Madara Uchiha." "Similar to your grandfather, is he stronger than Madara Uchiha?" "Where did you come from?" Rixianchin couldn't help rolling his eyes. Now, although Madara Uchiha is quite old, he has a lot of means, and Hixianchin has no absolute certainty to defeat him. Madara Uchiha has the outer dagulum of the divine tree in his hand, and no one knows what means will erupt. The shell of the divine tree loses chakra, and Rixianchin does not dare to underestimate it. After all, it is the origin of chakra, and it is impossible to give too much attention to it. "My grandfather can defeat Madara Uchiha, and you are similar to my grandfather, so naturally you are stronger than Madara Uchiha." Uchiha Madara is not so easy to deal with. If your grandfather is still alive, at most, he will be tied with Uchiha Madara. This is Hixianchin's estimation. Uchiha Madara's body is supported by an outsider golem, and he should be able to exert his full strength. However, his samsara eye should be given to Nagato, so Madara Uchiha's strength should be reduced, but it should not be underestimated. Although Rixianchin is not afraid of him, he does not want to conflict with Uchiha Madara. Compared with Uchiha Madara, Xianchen is more afraid of Black Ch. Once there is a conflict with Madara Uchiha, it will definitely attract the attention of Hige, which is what Xianchen does not want to see. Chapter 60 Blood-Washed Bandit. This guy Hige doesn't seem to be strong, but if he can kill Uchiha Madara, he knows that this guy is definitely not a generalist. Anyway, if you play conspiracy and tricks, even 10 Xianchen is not enough to play black and white. This is the mission location. It looks so simple. It seems that these bandits are not doing well. Jukes and I looked at the thatched hut on the top of the mountain and complained. The bandit is to bully the civilians. The real powerful and big businessmen will ask ninjas to protect them. They can only make a living by robbing civilians. Tsunade added some knowledge and experience to them. These people are actually so bad, and they were a little psychological burden. But now it seems that they are all a bunch of damned people. Jukes and I raised his fist angrily. Tsunade chuckled, looking at Kushina. She remembered herself who had just performed the mission. Don't be merciful. Not a single one of the entire cottage, including women and babies. Although the words are a bit cruel, this is a ninja. In the world of ninjas, even in the face of a child, one cannot relax their vigilance. This is a rule handed down from the Warring States period. But there are not many to abide by now. It is not that the current ninjas are kind, but that there is no cruelty in the Warring States period. Children in the Warring States period also had a lot of fighting power. But today's children are far worse, even if they don't want to belittle them. Baby women also want to do it. Mikoto hesitated. She was a gentle and kind character, and she couldn't do anything to weak women, babies who couldn't speak. That's right. No matter who the enemy is, as long as it is determined to be the enemy, we must cut the grass and roots. Tsunade said in a cold voice. Looking at the unacceptable Mikoto, Xianchen did not persuade him. In this world with killing as the theme song, kindness can only be treated to one's own people, and cold and cruel to the enemy. Mikoto, if you let them go today, they may retaliate against you and your relatives in the future. Don't hesitate, this is also a ninja rule. Tsunade's eyes were extremely serious. If Mikoto can't pass this level, no matter how strong she is, she can't become a qualified ninja. A relative? Mikoto glanced at Xianchen and Kushina, and then her eyes became firm. Although she is gentle and kind, Mikoto cares more about her relatives. If someone dares to hurt Xianchen and Kushina, Mikoto doesn't mind turning into Shura. Compared with Mikoto, Kushina is easier to accept. Although Kushina is carefree and has a very cheerful personality, don't forget that Kushina saw the demise of the country of Vortex with her own eyes. In an entire country of Vortex, only a few people survived, so one can imagine the tragic situation at that time. I'll watch you from a distance. Let's get started. Tsunade jumped on top of a big tree and looked at the top of the mountain in the distance. Let's act. You don't need to be burdened. When you pick up a weapon, you are a demon, and a demon doesn't need mercy. Xianchen turned into a streamer and appeared on the humble city. What are you? Laugh. A tearing sound rang out, and before the vigilant thief could finish speaking, Xianchen had already opened his throat with icy kunai. Sure enough, this world of the weak and the strong is more suitable for me. Looking at the corpse that was gradually freezing, Xianchen had no other expression, but only sighed with emotion. There is a demon in everyone's heart. When there is no crossing, there is a big lock of law, which locks the demon in Xianchen's heart. Let him face all the injustices, he can only endure it again and again. After coming to Naruto World, the big lock has disappeared, and the system has opened the cage for him to release the power of the devil in his heart. So when he came to Hokage, Xianchen never thought of pursuing peace, not only because Xianchen knew that there was no absolute reason for peace, but also because he didn't want to. Instead of maintaining a false peace, it is better to rejoice in enmity. The more selfish Xianchen does not think for the sake of all beings in the ninja world. He does not have such lofty ideals. Extending his finger, 5 light bullets flew out, and then penetrated several bandits who were investigating in other directions, and then Xianchen stopped. The protagonists this time are actually Mikoto and Kushina, mainly to train them, otherwise Xianchen would have bombed the mountain with Bakikai and Jade. Not long after, Mikoto and Kushina arrived, looked at each other, and rushed into the cottage with Kyuwu. Kushina and Mikoto dealt with more than a dozen bandits in an instant. Although they were really uncomfortable at first, they even vomited, but they got better afterward. Xianchen didn't intervene, standing at the trap looking at these thieves crying for their father and mother. His eyes were as cold as frost, which made the air in June bring a touch of chill. Weakness is the original sin. I used to be weak. Now I want to be a strong man, so that I won't let the system bring me to this world. Xianchen said in a cold voice. In a quarter of an hour, the battle below was over, and the three of them, Xianchen, came out of the entire cottage, and none of them breathed at all. More than 100 people, including men, women and children, all turned into corpses, and their blood turned into a stream, flowing. Mikoto and Kushina turned pale. Although Kushina was also someone who had seen the big scene, seeing it was different from doing it herself. Are you okay? Xianchen came over and patted the backs of the two of them lightly. I'm fine. Mikoto forced a smile and said softly. Seeing Mikoto's pale face, and the way she was holding back her vomiting, she didn't look like she was okay. Compared with Mikoto, Kushina was more direct, and threw herself directly into Xianchen's arms. "It's so uncomfortable, I feel a little nauseous, I want to vomit but I can't," Kushina said, clutching her chest. "It would be nice to experience more in the future." Xianchen could only comfort Mikoto and Kushina, and then Hyuga Tatsu released an oversized fireball technique to set the mountain on fire. The endless fire began to spread, and soon 1.0 covered the entire mountain. Xianchen took Mikoto and Kushina quickly away, not only because of the spread of the fire, but also because of the burning smell of the burning corpse. This smell is so unpleasant that even after Xianchen smelled it, he was about to vomit. At the foot of the mountain, Tsunade came over with a smile on his face. "To be honest, I'm very satisfied with your performance. I was worried that you wouldn't be able to kill you. Now it seems that you're worrying in vain. The mission is completed. In order to celebrate our completion of the first mission, I invite you to eat meat," Tsunade said with a strange smile on his face. As soon as they heard the meat, Mikoto and Kushina vomited out and looked at Tsunade with resentful eyes. This was definitely intentional. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.